Today we're making this gorgeous strawberry banana bread. It's so easy to whip up and it has golden edges and sweet strawberry flakes and just the softest banana flavor throughout. It isn't just any banana bread. It's like, I don't know, it's a banana strawberry loaf it's just so good and easy to make and something that I think is very nice to give out as gifts as well. So it's an added bonus. So let's talk about one of the reasons I selected this bread today is because we have a new neighbor that moved in. And I don't know, I was just kind of thinking, wouldn't it be fun to give them a loaf of banana bread and introduce myself to them or introduce us to them? And then I thought, do people even do that anymore? Is that a thing? Do you still give gifts to like a loaf of bread or something to neighbors that move in? I think it's something that we used to do all the time, but I don't know if people do that. But I think maybe it's a tradition that we should bring back if it isn't, because think about how warm and welcoming that is if you got a loaf of banana bread from a neighbor. I don't know. I just love it. Okay, so that's the small town roots in me. I grew up in a small town, and maybe I still have that vibe. Okay, so let's make this because I'm going to show you how easy it is. I think you're going to love it. It begins with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And you can obviously switch out that flour if you want to do whole wheat. I'm all about that. And then I have a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. This actually is a combination of a little bit of granulated sugar, and I had only dark brown sugar, but I wanted it to be more like light. So I just mixed it with a little bit of dark brown sugar and a little bit of granulated sugar. And next I have a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And I have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I have a tablespoon of cornstarch and a tablespoon of either ground flax or ground Chio is going to work here. So let's give this a stir. Just to make sure all those ingredients are spread about equally in this flour. You don't want to have a bite of baking soda. Trust me, that is not a good flavor. I've had that happen before. So that's one valuable thing about making mistakes in the kitchen is that you learn from it. So anyway, this works really well. I'm using that ground flax and the ground cornstarch as sort of a binder. Bananas are a great binder too, so this is going to really stick together nicely. Okay, let's move on to the bananas. I have a couple of bananas here. I'm going to mash them up. I just mash them up on a plate. The reason I like to do this way is because you can see when I do this, I end up with some nice texture. I like to have a little bits of the banana texture in the bread, and most of it, most of it will be mixed up. And then what I do is I'm going to measure this into my measuring cup and see if we've got, I like to have a little over a cup. If you don't quite have a cup, you're going to want to get another banana because we want to make sure every bite has lots of banana flavor. So see how this is kind of a heaping bowl of banana? That is what I'm after. I mean, did I say a bowl? Yeah, heaping cup. I'm kind of going for like a cup and a quarter, and that's to me perfect. So I've got that measured out. I also have here, well, this is 1/2 cup of, well, you can use sour cream, vegan sour cream, or this is actually vegan yogurt, plain vegan yogurt. It works just great. So I'm going to get this and we're going to just put that in a bowl. I'm going to add the bananas. You could do this all in one bowl if you want to. That's fine too. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of, this is apple cider vinegar. And then to that, I'm going to add around 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. That's going to make this nice and moist. Now, did I do this so, it's such a small bowl, it's going to be hard to stir it. That is me all the way. I'm always looking for ways I can make things harder for myself in the kitchen. But I'm also always looking for ways to save bowls. So maybe that's what I'm doing. Like, why dirty up another bowl if I don't have to? That's good enough. We're going to put this in the flour mixture. Oh, wait. Hold on. I almost got ahead of myself. First, we're going to cut the strawberries because I like to add the strawberries to the flour first. So I wanted to show you this little trick I have for how to cut strawberries. I discovered this because, well, if you can take a look at the bread itself, see how you got these nice big chunks of strawberries? I feel like there have been times when I have made something that has strawberries in it, and you don't really see all those little flecks. You don't see those flecks, and that really drives me nuts. So I figured out this. Okay, so here's what I figured out. You want to see this? I'm going to just tear off the end of the strawberry, and I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to hope that you see what I see, which is look at all this white. I think what's happening is you're not getting a lot of the strawberry color because of all of this white stuff in the middle. And I know strawberries are different all around the world, so depending on the part of the world you're from, you may not see this, but in here in the States, I see a lot of white in the middle of the strawberries based on the type of strawberries we have. So I cut that out, and then I cut just like my mom. You can cut this on the cutting board, but this is how my mom always used to cut strawberries. Just cut them into nice big chunks. You see how you're getting more of the red when you do it like this? When you cut out that center part, you get a little bit more strawberry color. And I just like that. I like it a lot. And so that's what I do. I saw this video, I think on Instagram or something, of this grandmother cutting an onion just like this. And actually, that's how my mom used to cut her onions too. We never even had a cutting board when I was a kid growing up. I don't know if you all feel the same way, but my mom would cut an onion just like I'm cutting the strawberry here. She would just, she had it down to a fine art, but I do like cutting boards. I have evolved. Okay. But hey, you know what? It's all a part about like making do with what you have and how you have learned. It's all good. Okay. So I'm going for a cup of chopped strawberries, and I actually like to do just a little bit more because I like to throw a little bit on top. Here we go again. I'm going to show you. Just cut that white part out. That way you just have more of the beautiful strawberry color in every bite. Oh, I forgot to do that one. Let's do it like this. Here we go. Okay, I think this is going to be plenty. I am going to reserve just a few of these pieces to go on top of the strawberry, the bread, the batter before we cook it. Now, I'm going to pour this in. I'm going to bring this.
What are you going to do with the stuff you just cut out? What are you going to do with the stuff you just cut out?
You mean the parts? So what you can do with them, if you have these leftover bits, these are the centers. They still have some flavor to them. I would just put those in a smoothie. They're perfect to just save those little bits and put them in a smoothie. That way they don't go to waste. Okay, so I want to put the cut strawberries into the flour. Give it a little stir. I just feel like this helps spread them out a little bit more throughout the batter. Try not to rough them up too much. Okay, now we're going to put this in here. I'm just going to give this a stir. Now, I find with vegan baking that a thicker batter always does well. And this is how you'll get a nice loaf that has a lot of rise to it. Sometimes it feels, if you're new to vegan bacon, you might be like, I'm not sure about this loaf. This seems a little stiff. I just, like I say, I find, regular baking will rely on egg to provide some of that structure. And with vegan baking, we're relying more on the flour to provide that structure. So that's why having a nice thick batter like this is preferred. Okay, now I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I have a pan ready. I'm going to show you how I prepared the pan. Okay. So what I did is I just got a regular, loaf pan, and I sprayed it with vegetable cooking spray. And then I cut out a piece of parchment paper along the bottom, and I'm just going to give that a quick spray. Because the worst thing that could happen is you get your beautiful loaf, it's done, and it sticks to the bottom of the pan when you go. I always let it sit for like 10 minutes after it's out of the oven, and then run a knife along the edges of the pan, and then it usually releases just beautifully. So that's why I think this is my tried and true method. I highly recommend it. So this batter is going to go in here. You want to stir this batter just enough to make sure you don't have any clumps of flour, but not too much, because you know that how it is with gluten. If you over stir it, you're going to overdevelop the gluten in the batter, and that's not good. It'll create a tough bread, and we want it nice and soft. Okay, I think I got just about as much as I can out of there. Get this other spatula and let this. And then I always like try to even it out. It's kind of uneven. Give it a nice top. And then I love to add some strawberries on top, because I want people to know this is my strawberry banana bread. And this is, you know, obviously you can see little flecks of strawberries in there, but let's just make sure they don't miss that. So those go on top, and then this goes in the oven. Like I say, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to stay in the oven for 60 minutes. And what I do is I always have a toothpick handy. At 60 minutes, this toothpick is going to go into the bread, see if it comes out clean. And even then, I still will probably leave it in the oven for at least another 5 minutes, because you know, you don't want the bread to be soggy in the middle. You want to make sure it's done all the way through, and that's one way to make sure. So this is going to go in the oven 60 minutes. I always set the timer because I always get busy and I forget what I'm doing. So we don't want to do that. So yeah, that's how easy this bread is to make. It's in the oven. Now you're able to just go do other things, and you've got this bread that's going to make a delicious smell throughout your kitchen. So I'm thinking about some questions that you might have. You might wonder if you could use frozen strawberries. Although I love using frozen ingredients, frozen strawberries are just a little bit too, they release too much moisture as they're baking, and I think they're going to make this bread too soggy, so I don't recommend it. I would stick with fresh strawberries. Another question you might have is about is can you freeze this? And absolutely, once this bread has baked and you've got the it's cooled off, you can cut it into slices. You can wrap it all in plastic, put it in a freezer bag, and freeze the whole loaf. Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful, because then when it's like, let's say it's Christmas and you're wanting to make loaves for many people, then you could definitely make a bunch of these and freeze it. Ah, such a wonderful thing. Yes, and then another thing is, can you make it gluten-free? And as long as you're using like a gluten-free flour that's formulated for baking, you should be fine. This is going to be a delicious recipe that you're going to love. So you know what that means. Now it's time for the taste test, and I'm so excited. So because I've been smelling this and it smells amazing. Let's take a look at that. Look at that. Oh, just looks moist and delicious. Take a bite. Mm. Mm. That is so good. I love the roasted bananas, and yeah, that is just delicious. It's got just enough sweetness. This is not an overly sweet bread, because we only used a half cup of brown sugar, but the sweetness comes through in just the right amount. A little bit of roasted strawberry in the middle of that bread. Oh, that is so amazing. I love it. Just delivers it's really interesting how it delivers a buttery flavor even though there's no butter in this bread. But I can't get over it. I love it. It's so good. I highly recommend it. I would love to hear from you. Are you going to make this bread? Leave a comment below and let me know what you think about this recipe. I'd love to hear from you. Also, let me know if you would be giving out bread to your neighbors or not. Would you make a loaf like this and deliver it to a brand new neighbor? It might be kind of fun. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for stopping by and baking with me today. I had a really good time. If you like today's recipe, please give this video a like and subscribe for more recipes coming your way every week.